Okay, excuse the messy room behind me. I decided that I wanted to get on today and tell you guys a story about last night's super fun activities. So, at about midnight or so last night, I started getting, well, actually probably earlier than that, I started getting texts from my mom and from people saying, hey, be careful, there's a big storm coming in. So we were just kind of chilling watching TV and kind of a wait and see sort of attitude to it. And at about I don't know, maybe 12:30 or so, when I was kind of wrapping up and getting ready to go to bed, all of a sudden I hear massively, massively loud wind out the back towards where the highway is. And it was like a freight train. And I'm like, that's not a good thing. So I'm like, calling my husband. I'm like, honey, do you hear that? Because that sounds like louder than it really should be for where we're at. And so Matt took a listen, and he's like, yeah, it's like really windy out. So we went ahead and we double checked the weather report to see where the squall line was, and we realized that we were about 20 minutes out from getting hit by massive severe weather, and we were in a tornado watch area, severe thunderstorm warning area. We're like, okay, well, this isn't so good, but because it was still like technically a watch area, warning area, we're like, well, we're gonna have to buckle down to figure out what happens. And so about I don't know, maybe 12:45ish or so, I walk out on the deck to grab a few things so they wouldn't blow away and get stuff under cover just to make sure, if we did start getting high winds wrapping around the house, that things wouldn't blow into like the car or something. We're currently in a stick built with no basement, so it's a little terrifying when you have a tornado warning, and we're in southern Indiana, so we're definitely in Tornado Alley-ish area. We're actually only probably about 30 miles or so from where a town got flattened last summer. So anyway, all of a sudden, while I'm out on the porch gathering my last little bit of stuff before the storm hits, I all of a sudden have him scream at me from the house, "Get in here, Mary! Get in here!" And I'm like, "Oh crap!" And he goes, he has like a SIG alert weather storm thing for his cell phone, and it was going off hurricane warning, like right now, hurricane warning, and I'm like, oh crud. So he's like, okay, quick, grab all the animals. Now we have 3 miniature schnauzers and a cat, and then I have 2 mice, which where they're at in the place, I really couldn't do much, so it was kind of fingers crossed they'd be okay. So we managed to grab all the animals, and our safest location in our house is our bathroom. And we all ran into the bathroom, and he's sitting in the tub covered up with some pillows and a blanket, and I'm like, oh crap, this is gonna suck. And so I climb in the tub with him after I grabbed everyone, and of course I don't know if you can even see these, I am covered in cat scratches and stuff. Maybe you can see there, and she nailed me actually pretty good here. Most of this is not really like bloody or anything anymore, but you see she got me. I got pretty good by Kitty, because I was trying to grab her, because she's like, I'm sleeping, leave me the hell alone. And I'm like, you need to get undercover with us, because we might be getting hit by a tornado, we don't know. So I grab all of them, we get her, and I grab her, and I throw her at Matthew, and I try to go find my other dog who had already put himself in his dog crate because he had already ducked for cover. And I'm like, Austin, come here. And so got Austin to come, and we all went and closed ourselves in the bathroom. We're sitting in the shower for a bit, and he's pulling up on his cell phone on the weather maps, and he's like, crap, this looks like it might be really, really good, and there's a hook near Bedford. So, because basically the direction the storm was going, and with the possibility of there being tornado touchdown in the area and moving in our direction, he finally got to the point where it's like, well, we could go in the crawl space. And I'm like, no, I'm not crawling down in the crawl space with 3 dogs and a cat and spiders. And I go, well, the other option is, what about your office that's in a brick building and it's partially buried? What about that? So we ended up doing, in approximately 3 minutes, which is pretty impressive for us, is we got all the dogs in the leashes and out in the car, and I had to go scoop the cat up again and get her in a crate, which is why I'm covered in scratches, because I finally found her little go box. And of course, I opened up the end, not realizing the other end is open, and I finally get the cat smushed down into the thing, and of course, she just drops right through the bottom and runs. So now I have Stormy Mick Pointy feet, running around the house, hiding somewhere while I'm trying to scoop her up and get her into a crate so that we can, get her into her carrier so we can get her in the car and we can take off, because we have a window of maybe 15 minutes before the squall line hits, and it was a massive squall line if you look at the weather maps from last night. And we did have major, we had a tornado warning at the time we started panicking, so it went up from it went up from a watch to a warning, and that was the SIG alerts that we were going on and going, oh, well, if we've gone to a warning and the tornado sirens started going off in the area, I'm like, that's not good, because that means that this is a severe, severe thing. So we only had a couple minutes to act at this point. And we managed to get them all in the car, and we took off back to where his office was, parked, and ran down into the basement under the stairwell. And the five of us sat there, 3 dogs and the cat and the 2 of us underneath the stairwell for about an hour until, the warnings finally, it took us forever to get internet. Apparently my doctor's office, their computers are still out today. So I'm assuming that there are still areas that did get some degree of hit. We had I don't know, I haven't really looked into it, but it was like really freaky. We actually were feeling the building shake, because when the squall line did come through, it was like sideways rain, and wind was enough to shake the building, and it was kind of scary. So we sat that out for about an hour and a half. So around 2:30, then, about an hour and a half or so later, we finally gotten all clear from National Weather Service, and we went back and we headed back home. But that was my night last night. And we're actually that's one of the reasons we're really looking forward to having a house this year that has a basement where we can actually go and go down into the basement instead of having to run out and drive somewhere in order to get under more secure cover, and having to raise a squall line, which is never fun. So, okay, and that's my story for today. I just wanted to fill you all in.